this was a place of ceremony. And so our indigenous people, they would have revered this land. They would have considered it sacred. And they had a very special name for the rivers and creeks of San Antonio, and they called it Yanawana. And we know that today Yanawana is translated to spirit waters or refreshing waters. So there's always been a spirituality connected to the water systems of Central Texas. And UTSA, they also know that this would have been a place of burial for the dead of our indigenous people. Now, our Native Americans would have buried their dead two different ways. The first way would have been called a shallow burial, which is essentially leaving the body into a shallow part of a creek or a river or body of water. For us, it might seem a little bit gruesome, but for them, it was a natural part of the cycle of life and death. We stack it on top, and we stack and stack and stack until you change the landscape of the area. And all over Central Texas, parts of South America, we see this in Canada, we see this all over. But UTSA has determined that the hill that the house sits on is partially an ancient burial mound. They have deduced that through thermal imaging, and that is one of the reasons why we believe that the property is so haunted today. And so many have experienced indigenous spirits walking through this area into the wooded areas of the property all over. And so that is the origins itself of this history, we believe, play a big part in the paranormal activity. Not to mention the natural elements. If we have too many bodies of water nearby, this is, some say, a contributor to paranormal activity. It exacerbates paranormal activity. And so this is a big factor here. The current owner, her name is Joanne Rivera. She's lived here since the 1980s, and she compares to the property to an old telephone switchboard in which spirits are able to come and go as they please. So that it's been a property that people from all over the world have wanted to visit. And of course, I know some of us might be familiar with some of the shows or YouTube channels that have been here, Ghost Adventurers, Portals to Hell, YouTubers like Sam and Colby, Twin Paranormal, Amy's Crypt. This has been a destination for paranormal researchers because it's such a hot spot for paranormal activity. And we find that every time that we come here, somebody in our group will experience something. In 1832, we had the Battle of Salado. Now, we all might be familiar with the Battle of the Alamo, 1836. We lost. Later that year, we gained our independence at the Battle of San Jacinto. And we would gain our independence, we would become a republic at that time. However, there were several small scrimmages, small fights between the Mexican army and the Texians that happened after we gained our independence. And this would happen all the way from 1836 to 1842. The last of these scrimmages would happen here on this property, and this is referred to as the Battle of Salado. It happened September 18th, 1842. The day before this planned battle, there were groups of Texians gathering in one area, groups of Mexican soldiers gathering in another area, and we had 36 members of the Texians who are ambushed by Mexican soldiers, and they are completely obliterated on the spot. All of them perished that day, and this is referred to as the Dawson's Massacre. Now the next day, which is the planned battle, the tables are turned. 60 members of the Mexican army died, and only one single Texian died that day. His name is Stephen Jett. Now Stephen Jett is a spirit that still seems to linger here on this property. There's a couple of different accounts of how he died, though. One says that he died in the battle, another says that he survived the battle, went to go retrieve his horse off of the Walden Creek over here, and as he was retrieving his horse, he was killed by Native Americans. Which story is true, we don't know. There's two different accounts and two different journals that say two different things. But he has been experienced by many different people throughout the years. 36 members that died on the Dawson's Massacre later given a Christian burial. The 60 members of the Mexican army that died in the Battle of Salado, they were not given a Christian burial. They were completely left there to rot. So they were not buried. Alright, y'all, welcome to a structure we call the Dollhouse. Now, this structure belonged to the child of Park Street and Jolene Wood Street. We talked about Park Street when we went to Sunset Memorial Cemetery. He was a gentleman who they believed either committed suicide or was murdered. Now, Park Street and Jolene Wood Street, they had two children, a son, Park Street III, and a daughter also named Jolene. The daughter's nickname was Jingles, and this was specially made for Jingles. And Jingles was a child who, from what we heard, had trouble making friends. She was a difficult child, she was very privileged, and she just had trouble connecting with other children. And this was the solution to that. They custom built her this playhouse that had 2 rooms and a little loft area in the upstairs. And it was a very special thing for her, and she was really fond of this playhouse. And she would have children of the neighborhood over, family friends over, and this was a place that was very special to her. And a lot of children had very special memories here. So this was a very special place to Jingles. And Jingles would come here in her old age and visit as well. But this was one of the first places that we investigated on the property, even before we went inside the house. You can imagine pitch dark, none of these lights are on, and we walk by this structure and it is just weird. We just are fascinated by it. So we decided to investigate it, and we did a couple of different things. First thing we did is we put an audio recorder at the front entrance of the structure, and then we tried to capture spirit photography. Many people believe that if you try to capture spirit photography, you want to capture several photos in the exact same spot so that you can scroll through your photos and see if there's something in one frame that's not in the other. And in one of our frames, we actually see what looks like a silhouette of a man inside the structure. And inside we see shoulders, we see a waist, we see a neck, we see a head, we even see a brimmed hat. But what was really startling to us is that this shadow had glowing yellow eyes. And it really was an eerie photo for us. And there were also accounts of other people who have captured interesting images here. So we definitely encourage you guys, if you're interested in spirit photography, this might be a good space for you to do that. The audio recording that we had, we listened to it, and it actually had what sounded like girls' names, like a series of names in a row. None of these names were connected to the history of the property, but we believe that these could have been what we call residual haunts, or an echo of the past. Now, after the battle took place about 20 years later, 1868, we have the Ripsteins here. Now, the Ripsteins were a pair of German and Swiss immigrants, and they built everything that they had on the other side of the Walls and Creek. Nothing is still here to this day. They would eventually, after 20 years of dealing with bouts of sickness, mental health issues, just a slew of problems, they decided to sell the property to the Mahler family. Now, the Mahlers were another pair of immigrants. They were German immigrants, and while they were in Germany, they learned a lot about dairy farming. They wanted to kind of live that American dream. They came here, and they wanted to settle a dairy farm on this property, and they did just that. And this was really a successful endeavor for them. They provided milk and cream for a majority of the city of San Antonio, including the downtown hotels and restaurants. And the Mahlers were a very special family, and they were the ones that started building upon the house. But as a modest family, they of course had a modest house. It was just the center room. And this room we're about to go into, and this would have been their entire house. So it would have been one single room. And they would have had a restroom outside. They would have not cooked inside, because you can imagine cooking in an open flame, not a good idea in the city of San Antonio. Inside in the middle of the summer, so they did an outside kitchen. And the Mahlers had Bluebonnet Dairy here, and they were very successful all the way until they closed it in 1935. After 1935, they were here up until 1941, when the children would sell the property to the Holbrook family. The Holbrook Road that you drove down is named after this particular family. Now, the Holbrooks were a very eccentric family. They were a pair of sisters and their husbands. These two sisters were very eccentric, as I mentioned, and they were socialites, and they wanted to kind of live a very grand lifestyle. So they put all of their money together to build upon the modest farmhouse and make a grand home. So they built the second story, they built the gables on top, the columns on front, they built a north and south wing for each of their individual families to have living spaces, and of course the wraparound porch. And this was called, for them, the House of the White Gables. And it was a very special place for them to entertain, to have the who's who of San Antonio over, and have very special memories. So a lot of people partied here. This was a really amazing place for fundraisers, galas, and things of that matter. And the two sisters would eventually, in their old age, leave the property to one of their daughters, Jolene Wood Street. Now, Jolene took after the tradition of her mother and her aunt, and she was a hostess as well, and she loved having amazing parties and fundraisers and galas and things like that. And Jolene was married to a prominent lawyer named Park Street Jr. As we mentioned, Park Street's, we visited his cemetery. And both of them were kind of the it couple of San Antonio. They were very well known. And both of them, unfortunately, would face untimely deaths. As I mentioned, this is the oldest part of the entire house. It does date back to the 1800s. A lot of people ask us what's original in this house. Not a lot. A lot of the fixtures, the furniture, all of these things are part of the current owner, John Rivera's collection. The bottom of the fireplace is original, and parts of the floor are original as well. Now, this being the oldest part of the entire house, it does have a lot of activity. People have experienced seeing full-body apparitions in this room. Now, Jolene would be the first to die in 1959. In the days prior to her death, she's found right over here, at the bottom of the staircase. It was said to be an accident by the family, but some people didn't believe this. Some people in the city thought it's a little bit fishy. People were saying that Jolene was cheating on Park Street. People were saying that she was even pregnant with another man's baby. So, when this happened, people thought maybe she was pushed. Maybe the husband had something to do with it. Maybe it was foul play. Nothing was ever proven, but they had an interesting thing happen after her fall. After her fall, they had a friend of the family named Porter Loring Jr. If you're familiar with Porter Loring Mortuary here in San Antonio, this is the exact same family. Porter Loring Jr. had access to painkillers. He came and administered drugs to Jolene after her fall. Some say that the drugs were the true cause of her death. However, if you look up her death certificate, the cause of death on her death certificate will say breast cancer. And this was a huge surprise to her closest friends, her family, her confidants. She would know to tell her friends and family everything about her life, and for her not to share that she had cancer was just confusing. So there was this shroud of mystery surrounding her death, and since she died, there were people who experienced her in the afterlife. People had described seeing a woman in white. She's most often seen outside of the house, on the second floor balcony or down at the gazebo, standing with Spencer in the gazebo, just looking over the property with pride. Now, one of the first stories that Joanne Rivera, the current owner, shared with us was a communication session that she had with Jolene and several people in the group. They were surrounding a recorder, and somebody in the group asked, "Why are you stuck here, Jolene?" And they get a response in the recorder that said, "I am not stuck here, this is my home." Shortly after, they got another response. And that response said, "And this is your home too, Joanne." So you can imagine how moved Joanne Rivera was. She's lived here since the 80s. She's maintained this property, hosted events, raised a family, and had to live with all the spirits here. For her to hear "this is your home too," it was so important that she actually had that phrase inscribed into a piece of jewelry that she still has to this day.
This is fine. Everything's fine. It's all fine. Let me actually move my keyboard so I can get to it. Oh my goodness. Unprepared. I'm unprepared. Unprepared. There we go. I think it's the unknown. Oh, it's not the unknown. Yes, it is. It's the unknown. It's the unknown. What you doing? Woo! It's the unknown. Get rid of this thing because it's creeping me out. It's the grandma nobody wanted. No. You're reading a book. Who are you? So I have a book that's like a compilation of things in one book, and that's what's keeping me busy if I want to read. Because I have the want to read, I just don't have the motivation nor the attention span to actually read through a book. So I have to read these compilations. I get way too distracted. Ooh, it's a red thing. Thank you for letting me get the red thing. Hello. No! No! Hello, no! Ah! Crap, where is he? What you reading? Come play. Seth is organizing his Yu-Gi-Oh cards for his tournament tomorrow. So I'm here all by myself. Oh no, Friends till the End again. Good to Great by Jim Collins. The compilation that I'm reading is like weird crimes or something like that. Has to do with like murders, but like in a really weird way. People committing crimes and murders that are really awkward. So like the chapters are only 3 to 4 pages each. So that's how it's been keeping my attention. The chapters are really, really short and they're nonfiction. So it gives me it gives me a place to actually like want to stop. Oh, I understand now. He has the perk where he can put his tear radius on a generator. Makes a lot of sense. Yes, true crime, but realistic. No! Oh. Oh, great. This was all my fault. No! No! Whew. Hi! Oh. Oh. Dang. Oh, a tree! A tree! I got stuck by a tree! Tree! Wee! Oh, dang. They're all up there. Don't come this way, but I have a feeling that you are. No, you're not. Maybe you are. I'm not sure. Where are you at? Yeah, so I figured that I like nonfiction books. Those are what keep my attention a little bit more. And they have to be about people doing things that they really shouldn't be doing. Hello, goodbye. Are you really just standing there? Wow. What a skill. Hello. Yes, hit me. Figured I'd just run around until he was done with the generator. Oh no. Wonder what they're gonna do for Halloween, because you know how Dead by Daylight always does something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They introduced their little.
I wasn't paying attention. It is. Who is that actually? Is it Doctor? Oh, it looks like Doctor. Is Zid? No, it's Huntress.
Definitely not the Doctor.
Oh, it's another red thingy. I need it.
A challenge!
A challenge! Yay! Oh, she ignored me. I got my glyphs. I got the glyphs. I got the glyphs. Glyph looks like Eye of Sauron. I'm going. Every time she opens a closet, she can see you, by the way.
Not me.
Not me either.
Says I.
Don't look in this closet, please, ma'am. Don't look in this closet. Don't look in this closet. Dang, dude! And you're getting me off of here. Off of here. Whew. She's still there?
No, I can't see her.
Okay.
She's chasing you now, though.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, yikes!
Oh, you're a savage, dude.
No, I'm not. I'm about to die again. Ma'am, why do you want me so bad? What did I do? Ma'am. Eee! She gone. Okay, let's go. She hates the both of us.
Let's
Hear a
heal.
loud thing. What is with your your hands? Look at the. Do you see this? Look at your hands.
They look kind of messed
They look.
up.
Why? Why do you look like
I
you're from
think-
Minecraft?
Oh my gosh.
Wait, why do you look? You look weird. Why do you look weird? Your entire body looks weird.
Skinny. I lost some weight. Dude, I think it's
Your-
the way that
Your whole body looks weird.
I think it's the way that like
It's the shirt.
my skin is being rendered on your
Yeah.
yeah.
Jonathan said it's a new feature. You look like a Minecraft character. You still look funny.
You know what? It's probably that shrimp I ate. I feel funny.
Why does it remind me of like Metroid? Everything's like... You're laughing, so you understand what I'm talking about.
Yes.
You're
Well,
my-
look, like even like I'm moving at 30 frames per second too. Like look at how glitchy I am.
Yeah. That's weird. But on your screen you look fine.
Yeah, I turned on the 8-bit, bro. Let's go 8-bit.
Okay. Let's leave and actually do something productive. Actually, I hope this Prion guy just got off. Okay, let's not go that way. No. It's unfortunate.